Jerome Hughes, Pappenhausen, South defence, Scannon, Pappenhausen! If I may say, like a rat up a grain pipe.
Welcome to Little Birdie Podcast, a unique look into the world of sports betting from the eyes of professional gamblers. I'm your host, Scoot, and I'm joined by the kid MG, Mark Goodwill. How are you, Mark?
Very well. Thanks, Nick.
We still haven't found a headset to fit that melon of yours. I love your technique there. It just goes around the back of the bonce.
Yes, got to protect the hair on top. You know?
I thought it was on trend for a second.
Welcome, Darcy Spinks, to the show.
Hello.
You're a bit more up and about this week.
Yes, I was sick last week, but I'm back.
What's going on with your hair?
Action.
You're going brunette on us.
Oh, I thought it was sitting funny. Yeah, look, I just haven't made it to the hairdressers, but I think I'll be booking an appointment this week.
Okay,
You've reminded me.
Shout out to your hairdresser. You got a little plug there?
Yes, I got a Heading Out Hair in the CBD.
Yep.
They're very good with Katarina. She does my blonde. But yeah, no, I'm not going brunette. It'll be changed by next week.
Well, next time I make a ridiculous bet, I might go and get my hair bleached by Katarina as well. Now, it's back. I tell you what, it felt like I was alive again last week. I went out and saw Melbourne Storm dismantle the South Sydney Rabbitohs, but I went to the game and, gee, it's great just to have sport and live sport back in Melbourne. Fantastic.
Yeah. How big was the crowd?
I think it was 11,800 or around that sort of mark, and I'm not one to sort of rub shoulders with fans, so I actually didn't mind the reduced crowd. I don't really believe it's fair or right. We're not even taking international travellers here, but all of a sudden you're still getting like 50% or less crowds. I think it's a disgrace. There's someone on Twitter that keeps tweeting "Fill the G," and I think it's spot on. We need bigger crowd sizes, and I spoke to a friend of mine who'd recently worked in AFL land, an ex-player. And the slashes to some of the AFL departments are just crazy at the moment. You know, $9 million budget down to $6 million. You've got multiple staff doing, all these staff doing multiple roles, and they just need bums on seats and people in the stadiums so they can, get these clubs to operate at full capacity. There's been like heaps of jobs laid off. It sounds like a disaster, and the government, they're just too cautious at the moment. Like, they're not taking travellers, and then they're only operating under these like ridiculous crowd rules. I've had a gutful of it, to be honest.
Nico's a bit fired up.
I think
Dan Andrews has got bigger problems at the moment than worried about crowd size to the MCG.
But it's about the economy, and it's about getting the game back up to speed as soon as possible. But they could have fit a lot more people, and we're in a group of 8 people, and then halfway, like, we'd all said g'day, shook each other's hand, and then halfway through the game, they decided to split our group of 8 people up. So 3 sat on one side and 5 the other. Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, if we had COVID, we've already spread it anyway, but there's literally no COVID in the States. So it was a disgrace, but it was great at Amy Park. I don't know how long since you've been to a game or Darcy at all, but we were sort of 8 rows back, and we were on the try line, and we saw Pappenhausen on all the tries. Most of the tries went in our end, so it was fantastic. And I just noticed Storm have only got 20,000 members. Like, that could be the best value membership out of any team. You've got a successful team and you can get access close to the ground. What do you reckon, Mark?
Sounds like you're trying to jump on the Storm bandwagon all of a sudden. Last week you were betting left, right and centre with anyone who wanted to listen that Souths were going to dust Storm up. Now you've gone and seen them live, and all of a sudden you turn around backing them for the premiership. You want to become a full-time member at Storm. Is that true?
Well, I do owe you a bottle of Goose, so...
Yeah, we'll talk about that later with Top.
Yeah, we can talk about that later.
I think he's drunk, is.
After a good start, and I guess the NRL coming back, it was great, just on the TV as well. You just sort of feel alive again to have
it was good.
eight games of sport. So I'll tell you what, I think the missus is going to take another back seat to this weekend with the AFL returning. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be wall-to-wall sport this weekend. We've got very good horse racing as well, and we've got the AFL coming back on top of the NRL. It's going to be a lot of sport to be watched. So, not sure how we're going to do it.
And Darcy's Tigers open the season against Carlton on Thursday night.
I'll be watching that from home.
Yeah,
I won't be going in to watch it, but yeah, I am pumped for that actually.
Yeah, it should be an absolute cracker there. On today's show, we've got Mark talking the 4 big blockbusters for the AFL, and we've also got Top Rope Tedeschi. He'll do a little bit of a review on a couple of matches from last week, and he'll go through the biggest games of NRL. We've got a pretty big night on Friday night coming up. We've got the Money Valley Knights. You can still jump into the stream there. Tickets are disintegrating online, and we have to confirm numbers due to COVID nice and early on the Wednesday. So if you want a last-minute ticket to the Valley on Friday night for Group 1 and William Reid night, we've got a little State of Origin theme to welcome back the AFL. So there'll be 2 teams, 2 betting banks, 50k. We'll all be there, and it's going to be fast and furious. 4 hours at the races. Who knows what will happen with the live audience? It's uncharted territory. There'll be some mad fans in the crowd, and it'll be worth a look on YouTube too. So if you can't get down to Moonee Valley on Friday night, make sure you check out Little Birdie Podcast on YouTube and watch the stream. It will be entertaining and educational. You will learn and see how professional gamblers bet. It should be a cracker. You got a big weekend, Mark. You're going to jump on the plane the next morning and go up and watch the Slipper with the Roll the Dice boys.
Yeah, Nick's you got me working overtime this weekend, so
It's hard work. Go to the Slipper.
No weekends off for me. I've got to work Friday night and then jump on a plane, go to the Slipper on Saturday with Roll the Dice. So I'll get up there nice and early, get out to the track. Apparently, got to take a boat out there. The amount of rain that's arriving.
Oh,
so
wow. What time's your flight in the morning?
Yet to be booked.
Oh, okay.
I'm more worried about
so
the
hopefully
flight.
not too
I'm more worried
early.
about booking the flight coming home because there's been some big promises made from the Roll the Dice Syndicate if Profiteer wins that we'll be borrowing one of your friend's boats out on the harbour for the Sunday celebration. So
Okay, so you might not come back to the Monday? Or...
yeah, so it's a big possibility if things go Profiteer's way.
Okay.
It should be a really big weekend.
We'll
Might
have
not
to
see me
watch
till
that one.
Monday.
Lots of weather around in Sydney, so if you're betting on sport or racing, make sure you're all over thebomb.gov.au and factor in the weather for all your betting. All right, we're going to take a little bit of a break, but if you're betting this week, Darcy.
Topsport.com.au, family owned and run for 30 years. Bet with a bookmaker you can trust, and please gamble responsibly.
Up next, we're going to preview all the best AFL for this week. Welcome back to Little Birdie Podcast, a unique look into the world of sports betting through the eyes of professional gamblers. I'm your host, Scoot, with MG, the kid, and Darcy Spinks. And wow, it's only one more sleep until the AFL action begins. There's some curveballs from the AFL, naturally enough. They're trying to tinker with the rules. It's just unbelievable what they try and get up to. They're meant to be the custodians of the game, and they can't help themselves. They're like a kid in a candy store, and they are pinging out. But we've got 4 big blockbusters that we're going to preview for the punters. And if you want a deeper look, Mark also is going to push his sets through. So if you've already subscribed, he's done pretty well. I think he's on a bit of a roll with the AFL Women's. You'll still get his women's stuff, but Darcy, AFL stings from Mark.
Check out MG's tips for the women's round 8, now tips 4 of the last 5, and the all-important tips and analysis for round 1 men's matches in the Little Birdie shop. Get the first 6 rounds for $99 or the whole season for $440, plus the tail end of the AFLW, located on www.littlebirdiepod.com/shop.
Yeah, a bit of a tongue twister there. Nice to get Darcy up and about early. But yeah, Mark, you've started to hit a little bit of form in the AFL Women's, starting to get deeper into the season there. How have you found the AFLW?
Yeah, it was good. We've had the last 2 weeks are going okay. I think that it's the top 5 or 6 sides now are all segregated from the bottom, so they'll sort themselves out. So there's only a top 5 going in, so there will be more than likely an unlucky side. With 2 rounds to go, so they'll overlap with the men's, and then we'll get into the finals. So hopefully we can have a bit more prizes for the finals, and also we'll give you the winner of the BNF hopefully for the women's once the season finishes.
Yeah, he'll definitely cause a bit of havoc in that market if you haven't already. But yeah, I think you deserve a medal for watching it. I still I can't digest it whatsoever. I think it's atrocious watching. So thank God the real season is here.
Good luck with that feedback coming back to you over social in the next few hours.
We just call it how it is here. And like the standard of the game is like an under-15s team could roll them. Let's be honest.
Well, you keep telling me this. That,
Do you enjoy watching
under
it?
15s? Well, I think the standard's improving each year, and that was always going to be the case. So, it's a brand new comp, and when they first started, they got a lot of teams to fill, and so a lot of the girls that were playing hadn't played for a long time. So now we're in our 5th year that a lot of the girls that are coming through that have been drafted round 1, for their first year, have now played most of their school years. with
Okay.
it, and they're also coming from different sports. So the training's improved.
Okay.
You know, so I mean, it's just generally improved. Nick hasn't jumped on board yet, but that's part of the reason that the Hawthorn women's team also don't have a team. So he's got no one to actually cheer for yet.
Right,
Although
I see. So we need a Hawthorn women's team.
For me to get around.
They
it.
are coming, yeah. But the problem is when the Hawthorn team come in, that they probably won't be any good for a couple of years. So then Nick will still be on the negative side of it. But
Okay, so give him a bit. Give him a bit of time to come around.
Our female audience will be all over Nick on social.
I support the concept, but I just
all right.
can't watch it. I think it's just unwatchable.
Yeah,
It's terrible. And I think under 15s would win comfortably. In most junior, metro, and even country leagues, they'd absolutely smash them. I've tried to get through it. There's not much on TV, I get it, but like the NRL is just a no-brainer. Anyway, we'll move on. We've got Richmond versus Carlton as the season opener. This is the real deal, and great skills on show here. Darcy, let's have a look at the market before I get lynched here.
Yes. So we have Richmond $1.31 versus Carlton at $3.50. Line 21.5.
I think the bookies are a bit lazy here. It looks like they've just cut and paste. They come to round one. It looks like they've got last year's prices and the year before and the year before. It's just Groundhog Day. Like the results of this match, it just seems like Richmond, trot in like easy, under a little bit of a grip in racing terms. Is the opener getting a little bit boring given Richmond's dominance?
Well, recent history does show that they've won 10 in a row now, and they don't look like really beating them. I think
Carlton, you mean?
I think 9 points has been the closest one. Although 9 out of 10 have been in the 1 to 39 bracket, most of them have been high side of a line. So I think they've covered most of the times as well. I think it's 8 or 9 times out of that 10. As you said, the line keeps going up around 17 to 20 most years. It is a bit of guesswork coming into round one. But, Richmond just have the wood over Carlton. Obviously, they've won 3 of the last 4 premierships. So, but the big following, they like to get the MCG normally full. I know you're a bit up and about the 50,000 rule. Normally, they get 80 or 90.
Yep.
And it would have been interesting what kind of crowd they would have got if they were allowed to get a full house in this year. Like how many people still choose to go given the opportunity of being around so many people.
Yep.
I don't think they would have got... I would have been surprised if they would have got more than 80,000 in if they were allowed to open the gates.
That's a fair call.
I just don't think...
People's behaviour's changed.
Yeah, I think there might be a bit more caution going into it just until I think the live sports kind of roll on. And then, once people get more comfortable with it, and it might take 2 or 3 rounds before the crowds fully come back, even if they were allowed to, I think.
Yep.
So
you're thinking, Richmond will win, but maybe not smash them.
No, I think Richmond will win. I can't make too much of a case for Carlton beating Richmond this week. They've got a few key injuries as well. I just think Richmond's defence just covers Carlton's forward line quite easily. And Richmond just know how to, they expect to win against Carlton round one, it seems to be. It's just a different mindset, whereas, the Carlton coach came out on AFL 360 the other night, and he was more like, we're hoping.
Oh, God.
And
There's the white flag straight up.
Well, I just think at the start of the season, all teams start from 0-0. And if you're not showing your utmost positivity
Yep.
when you're 0-0 with everybody else, then you don't give your fans too much hope. And I just think, whether Teague's that kind of person or not, but, Hardwick was sitting across from him at the desk.
He would have been laughing.
He was like beating his chest. You just see he's like, he just knows. It's like going into a boxing match. He just thinks he's faster, he's stronger, and they'll knock him out, which I think they'll do. So
how do we play them from a betting proposition? The line, like they can take the foot off the accelerator a little bit.
Yeah, well, that's going to be an interesting thing. Fitness as always with the longer quarters going back. There's different. I've heard a few players going, they might struggle to see out quarters and stuff like that, which I find strange because bar last year, that's what the quarters were. So the training can't have changed too much, in my opinion, why they've dropped off. Yeah. They can't survive an extra 4 minutes. And why such a big deal? Why they complain about going from 16 to 20 minutes, but everyone wants to agree, in the players that I've heard, wants to go to 18. So what's the difference? If they want to run out another 2 minutes, what's the difference between another 2, which they've always played the time before? So that seems a bit bit wishy-washy to me. But if I was playing this game, I think the line opened 18, as you said, it always does. Sorry. It's up to about 21. I thought it'd be more the 24 range, and I think just the way it's trending, I think by game time tomorrow night, you'd find it's 22, 23. So if you want to back Richmond, I'd get on now. I don't think you're going to get a better price, and if I was a Carlton supporter, I'd be waiting till the death to bet. I think the last hour is when you get the best price Carlton. And if I was backing Carlton, I'd more fall into the 1 to 39 slot and just get that extra little bit. So at the moment, I think they're $3.50 head to head. I think you can get about $4.25 for the 1 to 39. I think that's a better option if you like the Blues.
And it looks like topsport.com.au have got a nice little tech upgrade there. They've got same game multis. So I think they've got a little bit of a soft launch on same game multis for AFL and perhaps NRL. So if you bet that way, you might be able to find some sort of value there. But bet with caution on those ones and don't take too many legs is my advice there. All right, let's look at the Friday night fixture. Bit of a blockbuster. We'll be at the races, but I'm sure the footy will be on in the background on a few of the TVs. We've got Collingwood versus Western Bulldogs at the G.
So we have Collingwood $2.10 versus Western Bulldogs at $1.74. Line 3.5.
Okay, so this is the early play that you tipped up on last week's show. The market's still gravitating towards the Bulldogs. Still confident?
It's more than gravitating. It's been
it's a landslide.
Yeah, it's a landslide. It's listen, we mentioned it last week because when I was going through the early previews, and you were
fishing for an early play.
You were looking for a multi into South last week. Gave you the Bulldogs. Unfortunately, you're going to have to reload. The way the teams light up, the ratings, how it came up, there's no way that Collingwood had to start favouring this game. So I just think the bookies got it wrong from the outset. The market's starting to correct itself. Maybe little birdie punters have jumped on board early. And the bookies will hurt a little in this one because I don't think the line's maybe not finished. I think 4 or 5, maybe even 6 will be the final analysis. I don't think there'll be too much money around for Collingwood in this game.
I'm just looking at the totals and just noticing that the quarters are going to be back to their original length. Are the totals this week adjusted for the new format of the game, or?
Yeah, I think the totals are very hard first round in terms of just not knowing any guide for the teams of how they play. There are a few weather games around, so I think overall, from what I've seen to my ratings, the bookies have done a fair job in the totals. The ones I'll be looking for, there's a few rain-affected games around, so we'll be monitoring those. And if there's any bets in the totals, we'll send them out on Friday or Saturday.
Cool. Yeah. There's as we said earlier, around Sydney and Brisbane, there's plenty of rain there. So we're sticking with the Bulldogs in Friday night's blockbuster match. It's probably match of the round. I think you're just doing this to push my buttons, but the next match we're going to have a look at is Essendon versus Hawthorn. Darcy,
yes.
odds.
So Essendon $2.08 versus Hawthorn $1.77. Line 4.5.
Which way is the market moving here, Mark?
Surprisingly, it's going to Essendon. So you half let slip last week that you almost let slip my second play for the week, and you pulled yourself up. But through process of elimination with 2 close games, got a few texts and feedback on socials that were we talking about the Giants game or were we talking about the Essendon game that you said would be closer to pick?
This is it.
Yeah, the punters have found the right one. Again, and not just to get your goat was I thought it should have been at least a pick'em game. Yep. I think they're very evenly matched. There's a lot of unknowns with both sides. It's not necessarily a game I would be betting in. I'd bet with Scoot's money for sure, but I would direct it more to the Essendon side. I think so. The market's gone from 8 last week, where we thought maybe it should be closer to pick, and it's now halved that, so it's at 4. I think Hawthorn will just start favourites in the game, but don't be surprised if it gets a little closer to pick. But you will get a good price for Hawthorn in the last hour or so.
Yeah. I think I see a little bit of a smirk.
Well, I'm thinking about just doing the double up on the leader of Grey Goose. Like I sort of want to parlay the loss. I've already done a bottle on South Storm, but I'm thinking maybe double or nothing in the Essendon Hawthorn game if you take it.
Yeah, Nico's trying to load our bar downstairs with all his losing bets at the moment. So I've just taped out rounds 1 through to 23 for the Goose bottles for Nick. So I'm happy to accept that bet. I'll even give you the. Are we going to take it at the 4.5 line? Are you going to give me the 4.5?
No, I think it was just head to head. I'm trying to get up your skirt here.
Okay, right. All right. Well, I'll accept the bet. It's an ordinary match to watch, but we'll need the bottle of Goose to drink after the match, I think.
How will you take the Bombers? Would you rather take them at the 4.5, or would you take them heads up at 208 if you had to bet right now? When lines get this close, do you like to take the points, or you just take heads up? If you still think it's going to move.
Generally, I'll take the head-to-head.
Do you? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Listen, the other option you have got is this week with the bookies. A lot of them have got promos for week one, and I notice
$2 lines.
Yeah, $2 lines and stuff like that. So with that probably sways it. Depends on what size punter you are, because you can only get on $200 or whatever it is. So at least bet while they've got those promos on. I would say bet your portion at the even monies, and then have the rest on the normal line. But yeah, I'd take the head to head. And I'd also look at the 1 to 39s. I think if personally, if I was betting Essendon or Hawthorn in this game, I'd direct my bets to the 1 to 39s. I don't think there'll be too much in it.
Yeah.
So.
With the style of the game in the last couple of years, do you think the 1 to 39 market's still value at the moment, or given I guess it's tighter scoring and lower scoring?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think you just need to take it per game. I think you need to look at definitely what the total is in the game as well. I think that has a large bearing whether I would or would not take. But there's a few games this week. Port's won. I just think I think the Port line started a bit cheap. I think it was 24-25 last week. It's now up to 30.
30.5.
So they're games where I like to invest in the 40 plus early.
Yep.
And also I've taken a bit of the 60 plus
just
because I think at that 450 kind of margin, if they're going to blow out Kangaroos, in theory there's not too much between the 40 to 60 bracket. The Port may take the foot off, but Kangaroos might pack it in as well. So I think it's game by game analysis with a lot of teams don't put sides away as well. So that's where the advantage does come to the 1 to 24 and the 1 to 39. But I think it's also total and weather related as well.
Yep. Okay. And then the last game that you've got, which will be rain affected, no doubt, is GWS Giants versus St Kilda. Market, please, does.
Yeah. So GWS $1.63 versus St Kilda $2.28. Line -7.5.
Big line here, especially with the Saints, who run really, really deep. They've got some ruck problems and they got some injury problems.
Yeah, this market's moved a bit towards the Saints. I think it opened 8, got as low as 4, definitely got to 5. Unfortunately, in the last week or so, St Kilda, as you said, they've lost both their ruckmen, and then poor Maxie King got hit by a golf ball, so Scoot must have been playing out that day and has let one fly. So he's out with concussion, believe it or not, getting hit in the head with a golf
Incredible
ball.
injury.
God.
It's clearly a Giants fan. So this market's bounced back a bit. I personally think it's about the right mark now. I think that 7 or 8 margin. I just think more punters will probably lean towards the Giants.
Home ground advantage.
Home ground advantage. One caution is with this game, I don't think the Giants are a great wet weather football side. Well, they haven't been in the past. They like it dry. They like it fast.
Yeah.
That's generally how their side's been built. So that will bring St Kilda back into it. Just not sure where St Kilda's goals are going to come from in this game. So this is definitely one I'm looking for the total to see how the weather develops. And I might still be up there on Sunday if all things go well.
Might get out there.
Might get out there live.
I dare you get out there. You'll be barely breathing by that stage if Profiteer wins the slipper.
Geez, it'd be a big effort to do Friday night, the slipper, and then get out to the footy on Saturday.
I couldn't think of anything worse than 3:30 in the afternoon out in West Sydney watching those two sides go at it. But we're just going to put a graphic up on the screen now, something that we missed earlier with the bookies going up very, very late on season over win lines. And we've just got 4 teams up there. We've got Adelaide under 5.5 wins. We've got Geelong over 14.5 wins. Western Bulldogs over 12.5 wins. And West Coast over 13.5 wins. Are these your best bets out of the selection of teams, Mark? Run us through why you want these markets.
Yeah, unfortunately, we had to hold this off because last week there was no bookies up still on the season wins, believe it or not. So there must be a key person missing that doesn't put those up where everyone follows from last year. So they finally did go up and allowed the punters about 4 or 5 days to have a bet on them. So just the season wins that I went through and got mine out with my how I get through my model to come up with the teams. I just think, we've spoken about this before in terms of the wooden spoon market. I can't see Adelaide getting the 6 wins for the year. Actually, a couple of bookies did put up 6.5, which we were able to have a couple of wagers in, and now they've come down to 5.5. But I'd be still betting Adelaide 5.5 wins. I think they're more to the 4 range. And then three sides that I think will really be amongst the top 4, maybe the top 6. Geelong, I think you've got a good win and a half up your sleeve there over the 14.5. The Bulldogs at 12.5. I think you've got a win and a half up your sleeve there. And also with West Coast, I think 13.5 got a good home ground advantage, and I think they will cover their 14 line as well. So if I was playing in the season wins, a lot of people like to take multis. There'd be 4 I'd be working around.
And just an update there, I think Crows have been $4.80 into $4 for lease wins, so the market's starting to gravitate there. Out of those little bets that you've had, I'd probably say Geelong and Western Bulldogs would be the 2 of the better bets there. But you'll be starting to release your AFL stings for this week. Rolling into the season proper, confidence levels in the AFL. This is back to what you know best. So it's great to have you on the side of the punters this year instead of the filthy bookies, Mark.
Yeah, hopefully this thing gets off to a good start this week. We'll play a bit on the cautious side, obviously the first round at least. But on the flip side, it's a good opportunity. The bookies don't know exactly which way sides are going as well in the market, so it's easy to dictate to them a bit in the early rounds. And a lot of pros around, as Top Rope said last week, you make your money early because those who know and watch it and stuff like that
can react faster.
You got the edge, I think. So and the bookies are fighting for the business early in the year, so they're more inclined to take bets. And then they kind of shut up shoppers when they think they've got their clients in the bag. So hopefully we can get off to a good start in the first month and get the sting going.
Sounds exciting. Sign up and get the mail AFL stings. Head out to the Little Birdie shop. And if you're doing the form this week on the Slipper or any racing, one of our major sponsors is, Darcy?
puntingform.com.au. Get raw data to build your own model. Contact Punting Form to find out more.
Up next, we've got Hall of Fame with Top Rope Tedeschi. I can't wait. Welcome back to Little Birdie, a unique look at the world of sports betting from the eyes of professional gamblers. I'm your host, Scoot. I've got the Kid MG, AFL Sting, and the Queen of Social Circuit in Melbourne, Darcy Spinks. And we've got Top Rope Tedeschi. He is everywhere at the moment. Welcome back to the show, Top Rope.
Great to be back, Scooty. Great to be back, team. How up and about are we? 1 week of footy in the books. We're up and about.
Yeah, the greatest game of all. I'm a massive convert, at least for week 1 where there's no AFL. I was gushing after watching South Sydney, even though they lost, versus Melbourne Storm. Wow, what a show it was last Thursday night. You've tipped it up as the grand final preview. Were you happy with what you saw, Top Rope?
Very happy with what I saw from the Storm and the game, to be honest. It was an absolute cracking game. Storm jumped out of the blocks. Hall of Famer Cameron Munster scored within 2 minutes. First try of the season. The Little Birdie golden touch there, don't mind that. And, it was a good result. A good result for the kid and I. We collected. But how did you drain your sorrows, Scooty?
Well, there's no surprises. We had a bit of an entourage. We had 8 people at the game, and we decided just to kick on, and we ended up going to Kittens. But it was a late night. But I had to pull the pin at about 1 o'clock, and the only way I knew how to ghost was to go get a lap dance. If anyone's been to Kittens, there's the private area with the lap dancers are right near the door. So I didn't announce my departure, and I just I took a private show and then just slipped out the front door. You could relate to that, couldn't you, Top Rope?
Wouldn't know anything about that at all, Scoot. But I appreciate your smoke bombing skills there, and you really wrapped it all in one there.
Now, Cam Munster was our Hall of Famer last week. We gave him a Hall of Fame pass. He done his big deal with the Storm at a night at Kittens, and he seems like one of us. The week before, it was Macca. It was the Quaddy King. He got the impossible Luna Fox Australia Guineas weekend. Quaddy, and then prior to that, it was Jupster with his NBC anthem wrought for the NFL. It's a star-studded lineup in the Little Birdie Hall of Fame, and this week, top rope, my nomination is Blake Ferguson. I think this bloke is Superman. He's come back bigger, stronger, and better than ever, and his barnstorming tackle where he charged into about 3 Broncos defenders was unbelievable scenes in one of the highlights of round 1 NRL. Is Blake a worthy Hall of Fame contender?
Look, he's definitely up there. I got the nomination, and he was considered by the judges. But I think at this point, there's only one person that's swept the Australian gambling scene by storm. Not in a good way. In fact, I would say in one of the most confusing, dare I say, awful, unpleasant ways. The star of last week, Gambling Australia, none other than Marky Mark himself, Mark Wahlberg, a.k.a. Mike Iceberg, star of the new Ladbrokes commercial, and absolutely the most confusing thing on television. How long have you been around the gambling industry? 20 years?
Oh, yeah, I don't know, maybe 12 or something. It feels like an eternity.
Yeah. We've been around the game a while. I'll tell you what, I don't think we've ever seen more money spent for for a bigger lemon than I have with Ladbrokes.
I couldn't believe it was. I couldn't believe it was Mark Wahlberg when I've seen the ad, the Ladbrokes ad. Have you seen it, kid?
No.
You've seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know it was him. I thought it was like someone posing to be Wahlberg. I didn't think he'd stoop that low. Top rope, he must be doing it.
I could only think Marky Mark's got himself a gambling addiction, to be perfectly fair. Like he must be in desperate need of the coin to
he would have done well.
But,
it's either that or he's invested in the cruise ship industry and he's absolutely done his kahunas. But Marky Mark, I didn't think he'd make it, but you found a way to add him in. Top rope. The greatest game of all is back, and it's given us a breath of fresh air, that's for sure. We're going to take a little bit of a break, and we're going to come back and talk all things the greatest game of all. But, Darcy, if you're doing your form this week with punting form...
Powered by puntingform.com.au, Australia's best online form guide and database.
Up next, NRL. Welcome back to Little Birdie Podcast, a unique look into the world of sports betting from the eyes of professional gamblers. I'm your host, Scoot, with Mark, the Kid MG, and the social queen of Melbourne, Darcy Spinks. And we've got Top Rope Tedeschi zooming in to join us to talk everything the GGOA, the greatest game of all, if you still are trying to work out that one. Someone's written in the notes that this segment is sponsored by Grey Goose. They're having a piss take at my poor tipping credentials in the NRL. I took on Top Rope Tedeschi, our resident NRL expert, foolishly. I don't know why I took him on. I pay him to come on the show. He's tipped up Storm as one of his better bets, and what do? I go completely the opposite direction. But I think, Top Rope, the Mail was a little bit right last week. The Storm struggled in the second half, and they may not be at full capacity in terms of their tank and from a fitness point of view. Am I wrong?
Don't know that you're wrong. I think that they're always geared up on, and coaching's going to take you a long way to cover that stuff. So, yeah, look, they may not be at peak fitness, but you wouldn't want to see a peak fitness come around too. But I think they're up there as far as most teams are concerned. Everyone's had a short preseason.
I tell you what, one player who looks super fit is Pappenhausen. He was like an electric eel. It's scary to think what the inclusion of Harry Grant will do into that Storm outfit. And why did Jai Arrow start on the bench for South? Surely that's the last time. He'll be game time straight away, won't he?
No, I think he'll start the bench. I think they're going to try and... he's just a workhorse in every aspect. So I think Bennett's going to try and let someone else absorb those first kind of 15, 20 minutes of defensive battles, and then he can come on against some tired forwards and really make some meters with that quick leg speed. So, we'll see how long it lasts. He's definitely in their best 13. I think he's just starting on the bench as a tactically, but we'll see how that plays out. But I expect he'll start on the bench this week.
Okay, and let's have a look at round 2's action. The first game that we've got is Parramatta versus the Melbourne Storm. Das, mark it please.
Yep, so Parramatta $2.80 versus Melbourne Storm at $1.45, line a flat 6.
Now, Top Rope, the Melbourne Storm, the new rules look like they're suiting them. How did you think this game will play out?
Yeah, I found this one really difficult to assess. The early season home underdogs typically money 49 and 21 against the spread. We're getting 4 or more at home. So the natural inclination was to take Parramatta here, but Melbourne have dominated Parramatta. The new rules clearly suit the Storm. The Storm always start the season pretty strong. So I probably won't be playing or getting too heavily involved in it. Small lean the Eels plus. Best bet in the game, probably the under. Eels 8-4 under in their last 12 at Bankwest. And it's 45 and 31 when a non-interstate underdog of 6 or more in the first 4 rounds. So lean towards the under in this one, but nothing serious.
And with so much rain around Sydney and Brisbane this weekend, is that going to be the theme of the round, the under total points, or have the bookies already factored that in?
Yeah, it looks like they've started to factor in. I think it really depends on what kind of rain you're getting. The heavy drenching rain is a real unders slogfest. But if you kind of get a bit of rain and then it dries up and it's just a bit damp, those games really skew over. So it's going to be a lot of game time decisions when it comes to totals this week, that's for sure. But the new rules lend themselves to overs games. I liked a few overs this week, but nothing that's going to be delving too deep into until an hour before kickoff.
Yeah, the back end of the forecast, 20-30 mil back-to-back days, is frightening from a betting perspective up in Sydney.
Yep.
So that's the Thursday night game, Parramatta versus Melbourne Storm. Let's kick across to the Friday night game at Central Coast Stadium. The New Zealand Warriors versus Newcastle Knights. Very brave outfit, the Warriors, but market please, Das.
Yep, Warriors $1.96 versus Knights $1.86. Line 1.5.
Top rope.
I have no idea how the Knights are favourite in this one. The Warriors will jump favourites. The Warriors were pretty brave week 1. Adam Fanua-Blake was outstanding leading them through. Newcastle have a couple of key injury doubts. Kurt Mann and Bradman Best both in pretty serious doubt. Kalen Ponga still out. Warriors have covered 10 of their last 11 at Gosford, 5 straight off a win, 7 straight day games, 9 of their last 10 as an underdog. Everything lines up for them. The Knights have covered just 6 of their last 18 away from McDonald Jones, 1 of their last 9 off a win. I think the Warriors have good things, close to the bet of the week, and I'll be steaming into this at the plus $1.5. They will jump favourites.
And do you prefer to take? I asked the same question to Mark. When the lines are this close together, do you prefer to take the point start at the 1.5 over the head-to-head?
I take the plus because all I remember is the times I haven't taken the plus and the pain that's caused me when they're 1 by 1 or something like that. So, this is easy. So I take the plus at this stage unless the plus is down to $1.80. Plus $1.5, $1.90, $1.97, take the plus 1.5.
And a little birdie told me that all the big punters are going to absolutely steam into the Warriors here. They expect them to jump closer to the $1.70 mark. So I think top rope is all over it for this one on Friday night, and probably only weather can save the Knights. But the other Friday night clash up at Cbus Super Stadium in the Gold Coast is Gold Coast Titans versus the Brisbane Broncos, the hometown derby. Das, market please.
Yeah, Gold Coast Titans $1.46 versus $2.75. Line 7.5.
Interesting to see such a bad side like Gold Coast Titans start. I think the money's been 6.5 to 7.5 top rope.
Yeah, I'm surprised at the betting this one. I thought the money might have dripped in for the Broncos here. I couldn't have the Titans laying 6.5 points. That's for sure. So line went to them. They've only covered 4 of 11 as a home favourite over the last 4 years. They are a team on the up, but I love betting against these hype teams early in the season. They've still got a rhythm to find. They've still got plenty of holes in their side. They've lost their best centre, Brian Kelly, so he's sidelined now. I'd rather bet the Broncos, to be honest. I thought they started pretty well last week. Took to a 16-0 lead, bit of energy. There's no talent on that side, but at least they'd be trying for Kevin Moles, which is something we didn't see for Anthony Seibold last year. So I could definitely come into the Broncos at 7.5, but surprised the betting's gone that way.
I thought they were really, really brave early. They were one of your early plays, the 8.5, and you got a little bit of a cover there.
Wasn't that a fun second half to watch?
I did go the early crow in our chat group too. I said, gee, the Broncos have started well here. And as soon as Scooty uttered those words, naturally enough, the tide just completely turned the other way. But I did say it wasn't a crow. Top rope was filthy.
The mere mention.
Absolutely livid.
I think you see DK, he's the ultimate cooler on thoroughbred racing, but when it comes to sports betting, I have got that mantle. If I give the teams the kiss of death, which is ominous signs this week for probably the Warriors and probably for my beloved Hawks, because I am tipping both of those this week. Oh dear, top rope. Okay, let's push on to the Get Out Stakes, the last match of the week. We've got Cronulla versus Canberra. Firstly, before we get the market, it's at Cogra. Why, top rope? Why do they play there? For the uneducated.
The Sharks are having Shark Park renovated, so that's been out of action for the last couple of years, so they'll move back there in 2022. So they're playing the home games at Cogra.
Okay, market, please, Darcy.
There you go. So we have Canberra $1.40 versus Cronulla $2.97. Line 6.5.
Top rope, thoughts here?
Yeah, so like the Sharks this week, a lot of the home underdogs this week are very ordinary sides versus very good sides. I think Cronulla are a smack on average side. They're a fringe 8 side getting a big start at home against Canberra, who are at the bottom end of those really good sides. So really keen on the plus here. I think the Sharks will win off the bat. They've covered 7 of 11 at Cogra. They cover 58% as an underdog. The Raiders aren't great as road favourites, covering less than 50%. So I like the Sharks this week. I think they can really keep this one low scoring. And the wetter it gets, the more I like. So I'm pretty keen on the plus this one.
So Sunday, it could be an absolute slot by that stage. Now, we're going to introduce a new segment, and I've given Top Rope Tedeschi no pre-existing warning on this one, but we're going to call it Lock of the Week. And we're going to stick of these, Scoot versus the experts here. Let's have Top Rope versus the Kid MG, and we're going to call it Lock of the Week, and thanks to topsport.com.au, we're going to have $200 in the starting bank, and these guys are going to go head-to-head and see who can go on the biggest streak. So we'll figure out which charity that we're going to donate the prize to, or the money, as it accumulates. So every week they'll find their best bet, they'll have $200 on it, and it will go all up onto the next week, until they bust out. And once we get to a certain limit, we'll definitely donate that to charity. But brand new segment. So Mark, so it's a head-to-head bet, or you can find whatever your best bet is for your $200 on AFL this week against Top Rope Tedeschi to go streaking. Who's your 200 on?
I'm going to start with Richmond Thursday night, just the head-to-head bet to start us off. So we'll have the
$1.31.
$1.31. We'll have the 200, and we'll kick off with the Tigers.
Nice. We stayed up all night doing the form there. Just a nice big risky and take off the bat. I could have found that.
Yeah, true.
Darcy would have tipped it up too.
Well, you said slow and steady was the progress for charity. So, and you told me not to tip Port because they're about $1.16 or something like that. So
I'm surprised you got out of bed to come do the show. That's how much risk you're taking here.
I'm up and about for week one. What are you talking about? So, no, there's nothing wrong with kicking off with the Tigers. It's a solid, $1.31 chance. Yeah, get the bank rolling.
Okay, so that's $200 at $1.31 for the Kid in AFL. But Top Rope, who's your lock of the week? Give us your banker.
All right, let's go to the Warriors.
I love this.
$1.97.
He's looking for an early lead if we both get up.
$1.96 at topsport.com.au. I love the aggression there. $200. See, that's a real bet, and that's pills on the line, Mark. Take note for next week. You've locked in your $200 at $1.31, the Tigers, and Top Rope Tedeschi $200 at $1.96 for the Warriors. Top Rope, outstanding. Any other news or around the grounds, news from NRL world that's tickled your fancy this week?
Oh, what have we had this week? We've had the Dally M's a week in and shown up to be a complete rort again. That's, I just have no idea how to continually get it wrong. Darren Lockyer is giving out votes in Broncos games. Just controversy after controversy. Just give us a medal that we can bet on. How hard is it?
Yeah.
Brownlow night. I'm epically jealous every night. Oh, I'll be honest, I watch about 8 minutes of AFL every year. I can lock down for 4 hours of Brownlow betting. Expert on, who's going to be the highest ruckman. I don't know any of this stuff. Just love the numbers, love the votes. It's Eurovision with a bit of sport. Rugby league needs it.
It's amazing, isn't it? We'll just put up a little graphic on the screen now, and you can see our man Top Rope's done an article. Note the date there. We'll zoom in on the date. 2014. He's written an article to say, pull up your socks and make sure you fix the Dally M. So we might give a little bit of a shout out here, and we might start a new segment next week called Fix It Pugwash. Captain Pete, he's steering the ship at the NRL there, so he needs to pull his socks up, and he needs to get the Dally M up to scratch and sit it alongside the Brownlow medal. Top Rope called it in 2014, and here we are, 2021. We've been through everything. It feels like a lifetime of this COVID, but Peter V'landys, come on, the Dally M, get some integrity behind the sport and sharpen up this medal and make it a showcase event like the Brownlow medal, merely for the fact that we just want to gamble on it. But rugby league deserves...
Just want to bet on it.
The scandal that would come out of the Dally M night is worth it alone. Can you imagine what the rugby league players would be doing? You saw Brendan Favola a couple of years ago. This will create so much hype and publicity. PVL, Fix It Pugwash. We might start a segment up next week called Fix It Pugwash. But fantastic. The Dally M, full of scandal. And I remember, I think we bet on it once or twice, and we used to just hemorrhage about 10 years ago on the Dally M. It was just rorts galore. Everyone knew the result. Can you remember any of those little...
Yeah, they were called the Whispers. Someone went from $7 to $1.10.
I'll give you a good yard. In 1996, David Fairley won wasn't the predecessor, but it was the Premier Award, the Rothmans Medal, and he went from 33 to 1 to 5 to 4 on that day, and got the cash. So the Rorts and rugby league medals have been going back at least a quarter of a century and probably longer.
No doubt about it. Top Rope has been on fire. He was a 2.2 unit winner on round one. His best bet saluted hits the line. So if you want his staking strategies, his 5 and 4 unit plays, and just not his best bets off the show, Darce, head to the shop.
Yep, like what you hear, Nick Tedeschi's sub packs are available in the Little Birdie shop under GGOA. Now $77 for the first 6 weeks, or $425 for the year. Check it out.
Unbelievable value. You will win that back in the first couple of weeks. Top Rope, have a good week.
You too, guys. You too. Enjoy the AFL. Find plenty of winners. Let's come back next week with the cash raining.
Can't wait for it. Sounds like the fire alarm is going off in our buildings, which is perfect time for us to wrap up the show. We are not going to stop recording. This is just crazy. Every week, it's the sausage dog 1 week chewing our legs. It's a fire alarm the week after. It's a construction site. But the best news is our studio is nearly finished downstairs, so we might start doing some shows from down in the lounge and the bar in the next couple of weeks. Like us, rate us, follow us, Little Birdie Podcasts in the Apple Store, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're on YouTube. We are absolutely everywhere. So just punch us into Google if you don't know how to operate a computer, and you'll find Little Birdie Podcast or our racing show, Bet Doctor. It's been a hoot this week. Can't wait for the live stream at Moonee Valley Racecourse. Mark, you'll be there. You'll back up at the slipper. Sydney will be underwater. You might even be able to fly out of Melbourne, hopefully.
Might be able to do next week's show from up there.
Could do.
Back of the profiteer boat.
And Darce, you'll be going to heading out here.
Yes. Good memory.
Yes.
On Friday, yes, I'll be going there. So my hair will be nice and fresh for Friday night.
Can't wait. If you want to see us all at Moonee Valley for the Money Valley nights, we've got Vix versus the SA. We've got a footy theme. And we can't wait for Group 1 William Reid night at the Valley, and can't wait for Richmond Tigers and Parramatta Storm to open up the week for Thursday night's football. See you next week.